Thank you very much, everyone. And also thank you so much for the grant. So just to very quickly introduce myself, I'm James Etherington, Director of Kiplin Hall and Gardens. If you haven't heard of us, don't worry. We are a small historic property located between Richmond and Northallerton in the heart of rural North Yorkshire. We're 400 years old last year and we have 90 acres of gardens and grounds. We originally came to the fund via a fundraising newsletter that we're subscribed to, and we arranged a call to discuss it. Our first choice would have been to put in an expansion to our solar farm that we have on site. However, the restrictions on the fund that any energy generated has to be used by the property, not sold. And unfortunately, our uh, solar farm is too far away from the hall, and the technology is not there to make the energy run to the hall. So we have to sell it to the grid. So we chose Groundwork to discuss the project with originally because obviously with it being a very strong environmental charity, it was looked like what we were doing. So at first it seemed like we weren't going to be suitable for the fund. However, during our conversation with Groundwork, we um, were looking at what else we could do, and the plan became very quickly that we could use it to fulfill one of our other environmental and financial objectives, which was to replace the aging vehicles on site that our gardening team used. We had a grant slash loan hybrid project before, and they are very useful for projects like this where the upfront costs can be quite expensive for a small charity like ourselves. We are a very small independent charity to have to raise all our own funds. We had a petrol driven tractor. It was aging. It was starting to break down more often than it not, and it was getting more expensive to repair. And we wanted to move to an electric tractor, largely for environmental reasons. So this fund was absolutely perfect for that. However, the cost of the tractor that we wanted wasn't enough to meet the minimum £25,000 requirement. However, again, through discussion, we were able to add in a robot lawn mower, and you can see that in the top left-hand corner picture there on the screen. And the robot lawnmower is essentially, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a robot that mows the lawn. It is if you've got a Roomba or something at home, it's very much like that. It trundles around in its set area and mows the lawn autonomously. It reports back to an app so that our head gardener can keep an eye on it. It improves our visitor experience because it keeps our lawn cut much more regularly. It does it every day or when needed. And it also significantly reduces staff time needed for, I've called it grunt work, but essentially, using a skilled and trained gardener, horticulturalist to sit on a tractor mowing is not the best use of their time. So that allows them to spend their time on more horticultural things. So there is also a knock-on improvement to our biodiversity on site, as well as saving us between £4,000 and £5,000 worth of staff time per year to keep that large main lawn cut. Our head gardener has fallen in love with our little robot, and we will be buying more to do some of the smaller lawns in the future. So the robot lawnmower was a great success. We had originally planned to buy a standard electric tractor, but the main supplier for that stopped selling them in the UK market. So obviously, when we'd applied, they were on sale, and we'd had the grant approved based on the equipment that was available at the time. But as soon as we got the money and came to buy it, they'd stopped their UK-wide sales. There wasn't an appropriate replacement for that. So again, we came back to Groundwork and explained the situation and asked if instead we could buy two smaller vehicles. One is a very small ride-on lawnmower. I think you've probably seen them going around, in parks, municipal parks and things. That does the bits of the garden that the the robot mowers can't do. And also we got the Nipper, which is the vehicle that you can see on there. So it's a small utility vehicle. So it does all of the other functions of the tractor, pulls all of the trailers around. You can see a picture of it in action there. So the outcomes of this project was multiple. There's been a huge reduction in our fuel cost on site. We've stopped having to buy petrol or diesel onto site. It has increased our electricity costs slightly, but that's easily balanced out by the reduction in fuel costs. There's obviously a massive saving in carbon from that. And the saving that I mentioned in staff time earlier was a massive thing as well. So we have had a significant environmental improvement. Off the back of this project, we've made the decision to scrap all of our remaining petrol equipment, so the chainsaw, and to replace that this year. So we'll be buying all electric equipment, which will completely remove our need for petrol on site. There's been an improvement to our cost base, an improvement to the environment, both through the use of the equipment, the reduction in carbon, and the time being freed up to be spent on projects that are more suitable for our gardening team and improve things like we've been able to build a dead hedge in the woods, which improves access corridors for animals and things like that. And it also reduces a significant risk on our organisational risk register, which was the risk of storing flammable materials on site. So once we've finally got rid of the last of the petrol equipment, we will have reduced that risk entirely. So that's another unexpected benefit. And the final additional small benefit is the nipper is incredibly strong and managed to pull the UPS van that got bogged down. And you can see the picture of that in action there. So that was an unexpected but useful side effect. So I was asked to suggest 3 key learnings for this. I think the first, from our point of view, was it was definitely worth the discussion up front, and having that initial conversation before we even put the application in helped us to shape it. We went in with an idea, which obviously didn't quite work, but with the support of the advisor and knowledge of our own plans, we were able to be flexible and come up with a project that was suitable both for the fund and for what we needed. We obviously, I think, it goes without saying that improving the environment is obviously in itself an important benefit. But for us, the biggest benefit was the financial side effect for the organisation, the reduction in costs, the improvement in the staff capacity and time, and that has been the biggest knock on. It hasn't taken a huge amount off our environmental impact overall as an organisation. We are a rural attraction, which means that most people have to come by car, but it's one of those every little bit helps kind of thing. And the final learning I would say, which I think is important for any grantee to be aware of, is that the support for preparing the application and the support for doing the programme will be fantastic, and it certainly has been, and we're really grateful to the team for the support, but also that there is quite a lot of reporting afterwards, and certainly to the scale of the grant. So just any kind of potential grantees need to be aware that there is a lot of reporting required, but obviously with it being the kind of money it is, it's normal for this kind of fund. So yeah, thank you. Very grateful for to you for supporting that, and really excited to carry on and improve our environment through similar projects in the future.